is she doing? Why is she doing that?
Yeah,
Right?
you gotta loosen up.
You got to loosen up.
Right?
Go live. We're going live. It says we're live streaming, but it hasn't shown up on my feed. There it
There it
goes.
is. We're live.
Woohoo. We're live. We're dancing. We're singing. We're dancing. We're rapping. No, we're not rapping, Mom. It's not rap.
Okay. There. Okay.
Hello?
I
Hi.
I got my Facebook handled. It was like,
Okay.
you know how I am
do
with
know.
technology, not so great.
I do know. Yes, I'm not any better.
Yeah. Hello,
Hi, everybody. Woohoo. Sandra here.
Shannon, and we have a very special guest today that we're super stoked to have on. In fact, why don't you just go ahead and introduce yourself to everyone?
Hi, I'm Alana Kirk. I'm a photographer in Cleveland.
But you're not just a photographer in Cleveland. Like, let's really give you credit for what you really do. So tell everybody what you really do.
So I do a lot. Trying to figure out how to compress that. I show people that they are works of art. I help people connect to part of them that gets to celebrate how beautiful they are and how amazing they are. And I get to show them the parts themselves they don't get to usually see. And that is essentially what I do. The photos are a bonus.
Yeah. When I first heard about you, of course, it was from Dora, and she was telling me all about you and your project. And I went on to Instagram to look through some of your photos. Now, I have to let you know, I don't ever go on Instagram, ever.
Mm-hmm.
I have an Instagram account. I probably look at it once every 2 years. So for me to actually take the time to go on Instagram and look is a huge deal, number one. And number two, when I looked at the pictures and I'm scrolling through, I thought, oh my gosh, you bring out the essence of people's soul into their pictures and show who they are. And when I looked at those pictures, I thought, I have to be a part of that project.
I love that. I love that because that is it. And I don't want to be like, I capture people's souls because it just sounds creepy. Weird. I don't know a different way to say it, but
you showcase the essence of who they are.
It is. And it's often a whole journey that we go through in the studio. People come in, they're very nervous, and a constant comment I hear from all of my clients is, I am terrified. I've never done a photo shoot in my life, but something told me I have to work with you. And that's why I'm here. But I almost canceled this morning before our appointment. And they show up and they get into hair and makeup and get time just to be taken care of and to know that they're going to be putting their best face forward and be camera ready. And then we start, and the first half hour is usually them being nervous, and we're working through all of that and untangling what's going on. And I'm usually pretty energetic and cracking a lot of jokes and getting them at ease with themselves. And then eventually they get a little bored with me. And that's when the soul comes through. And then we start, it just turns into a space of freedom and safety and a space where people are allowed to be completely vulnerable in themselves and also connect to the playful side of who they are. And it often turns into a space of just play. And we start with one idea, then it's like, hey, I have a sword. Do you want to use my sword? I have a crown. Do you want to wear a crown? And we'll just start going, and it becomes absolute hilarity and fun. And that's how we create.
Why do you think, and I have an answer in my head, but why do you think it is that people are nervous in the first place and don't want to get their picture taken?
Most people are. And I know for myself, I struggled years ago with being in front of the camera. It was a place of, I was afraid to be seen. I was afraid of what I would see through the eyes of someone else seeing me. And so 2017, I booked a photo shoot with a photographer that I like, who travels around the country doing pinup style photo shoots. And I did those, and I was so nervous. I was visibly shaking for an hour and a half of that photo shoot, which lasted 2 hours. At the end, I kind of came into myself and felt okay. But then when I went home and looked at the portraits, I looked at them for 30 seconds on my computer, and I was like, I don't know who this woman is. I know it's me, but I don't recognize her. She looks confident and beautiful and even sexy, and I am none of those things. And I shut my computer off and couldn't look at it again for 2 weeks and started really doing some work on integrating my self-concept with the reality of how I appear in the world and who I had the potential of being. And then I was able to get into the photos and look through them and start accepting, yes, this is me. And I am so far from being that woman, and I want to know what it's like to be her. So I started doing the work, and also to just to be on that side of things and to know what my clients are going through emotionally, because it can be intimidating. You're there, you don't know what your body's doing. You don't know if you look silly. We've all seen terrible photos of ourselves, which I glory in the awful photos of me because they're hilarious. It's just a split second in time. Like, I know I don't always look like Ursula, sea witch rising out of the lake with this terrible facial expression. I didn't know I could make that facial expression. But yeah, so I think it's just, they're coming in, they've seen my work. I had one woman comment, she had shared with her coaching group that she didn't know she was coming in from North Carolina to work with me for the Wise Woman Project. And she told me, she's like, I was talking to my coaching group, and I was like, I don't know if I can go through with this. I'm nervous. She captures people at a soul level, and I don't know if I'm ready to see myself in that way. And her coaching group said, no, you need to, and you need to go. So she came. And I think that's it. We're not just taking pretty pictures. I'm creating a container for transformation on a lot of levels. And for a lot of my clients, it's the beginning of a journey back to themselves, or discovering aspects of themselves that they've always wanted to have, and realizing they already have those parts within themselves.
I love that. Sandra, I've been doing all the talking. Do you have anything you think you would like to share or add or ask?
I'm just drinking in this conversation. It's so beautiful. I also looked through your 40 over 40 collection, and was just in awe of the photos that you took. Some of them were not what I was expecting in terms of like some of the props and the colors and the setups, and just really beautiful photographs of compassionate souls.
Yeah. And that's when I started the project, because was pretty large to take on. I initially thought I would photograph everybody in a similar style, but decided it's too special. And I wanted to develop everyone's photo session to be authentically them and to be their dream photo session. And it was, I don't know, these women that came to this were just so amazing first in so many different ways, and all at very different stages of life. I had one woman who had just turned 40, and on the consult call with her, she's like, I want to do something really weird. And I said, I'm all about doing weird things. What is it? She said, I want to shave my head for my photo shoot. And I said, okay, I'm fine with that. Why do you want to do this? What's your reasoning behind it? And she said, I haven't cut my hair in 10 years, and I have worked hard to get to a place of radical self-acceptance of myself. I live in a larger body, and I think my fat is beautiful. I don't shave any of my body hair. I let it grow, and I want to shave my head to just completely release myself from patriarchal beauty standards and be free of that. And so we did. And I had my makeup artist holding the mirror, and I was photographing the process and videoing it. Her friend had come with us, and the studio was silent. The three of us were crying. She just got more and more radiant as her hair fell off of her head. And at the end, she was just this radiant, glowing human and felt so good. And it's, she was stunning before, but like after, I said to her, I was like, I know why you did this, but you look so incredibly confident and sexy right now. I can't even like, it's just, you just transformed into this whole other person in front of my eyes. And it was such a sacred moment in the studio to watch this happen. And, other women came and they're like, newly into my 40s, I don't know who I am yet. And I want to explore that. I had women in their 70s who, like, I didn't know I could play. I didn't know I could be playful. I didn't know I could feel sexy. I want to book a boudoir shoot with you now. And I love it. I love the idea that women in their 70s want to do a boudoir shoot.
Well, hey, Martha just got an offer to do
Exactly.
Sports Illustrated, and she's
Right,
what,
she's on the
81?
cover. No, and I love this. And that was, my whole intention is just with this project and continuing it on because it's so special. And I just don't feel it's done yet, is to shift the narrative around women and aging in whatever way is possible with these women who've come on board, and to show that life isn't over when you're 40. It just gets more, we get more powerful, we get more vibrant, we start taking control of our lives and shedding the skins that we don't need to be wearing anymore.
I find it interesting because we've been talking a lot about self-objectification in some of these lives, and how we perceive ourselves almost as outsiders, right? Looking in, based on our conditioning, right? From how we've grown up and what we think should be or should not be beautiful. And when you say, well, I want women, I'm taking pictures of women so that they can see themselves, how they truly are. Mm-hmm. And it's interesting because you say, and how others see them, right? Because even though we sometimes we're always looking at ourselves as an external human, we're not really seeing us. We're seeing some version of us we've made up and comparing it against what we feel we should or should not be.
Precisely.
But your pictures are really helping women see themselves in a different perspective, from not a perspective of self-objectification, but from really, who am I?
Yes, that's precisely it. It's, one woman in this project, she's said she wants to do this so she can have the portrait of herself hanging up every day so she can look at it, because the mirror lies and the portrait doesn't. And the one that she had chosen for the project, she said, she's like, I love this one because this is how I want to appear in the world. And I said, but this is how you appear in the world because you're appearing that way right here. And this is you in this moment that I captured of you being this person.
Mm-hmm. And it is disarming because I remember coming to see, I was so nervous to come. Number one, I was so nervous the whole time I was taking the pictures. And number two, I was so nervous to come and see what they looked like. Because I thought, oh God, what if I hate them? What if I hate them? And I sat down and you started showing them to me. And I thought, what the fudge? Who the hell is that? And like you, I was like, I don't think I can look at these because this is like, I was so jarred. But the longer we sat there, and I remember saying, can we go back and look at them again? I was like, oh, that is me. Oh, wow. And it's like a whole experience.
It is. And that's why I go through the photos and do a reveal with each client, because I want to sit here and be with them if they have that moment. And sometimes there might be one of the portraits might not land right. It's like, no, that's not me. I'm not smiling. I look serious. I don't know who this is and I can't appear that way. And I'm like, no. We are so multidimensional. And can I tell you the story of the person that I see in this portrait? And then I will tell them what I see when I look at it and how it speaks to me. And there's a lot of crying that happens in here when we do this, but it is very cathartic for pretty much everybody and whatever level it needs to land for them. And I love that I can just create this space for people to know themselves in a different way.
Yes. Are you continuing then with the project?
Yes, I've decided to open up to 30 more people. My goal is to wrap up by the end of summer, which will be kind of fast, but I would like to take everyone's portraits, and then I also collect stories from each woman and let them tell me in their own words of who they are. And for some, that's just a couple lines. For some, it's a couple paragraphs. I just give them the space. I want you to talk about you. I want you to talk to women that are younger than you, and what you would say to a daughter or a niece or a woman you're mentoring about getting older. And so I've collected those stories from the first one, and they hung at the exhibit with everyone's portrait. And that's what I kept hearing time and time again. It's like seeing the portraits is amazing. Reading each woman's.
Yeah. So moving. Yes.
Yeah. When I saw, thankfully, before opening night, I walked in because I had a reporter from Cleveland.com there who was doing a story on the exhibit. And it was the first time I had seen everybody together in one space with their words. And I was kind of glad the reporter was there, because I would have just burst in a tear. Like, it was so powerful. But what I'd like to do is to take the portraits, take women's stories, include some writings I have about midlife in there, and turn it all into a book.
Mm.
Because I think it needs to be seen and accessible to more people. So that's the goal.
When you say you're opening up to 30 more women, is this the 40 under 40, or is this the Wise Woman Project?
So it started out being 40 over 40 because it was just an easy way to phrase it. I was looking for 40 women over the age of 40. But as it developed, as things do, the concept I had for it changed, because the universe is like, okay, that's nice. This is what you're actually doing. And I'm just along for the ride. Like, I get the ideas, and I am just here for it. And I will change as needed. And so what it developed into was very much the wise women. And that's another thing that I feel we're desperately missing in our lives, is the wise women guiding us. And throughout history, we've always had the grandmothers and the older women who are like, just guiding us through life and holding us and giving us the knowledge that we needed, or just honey, you need to calm down. It's not that bad. just go chill, take a nap, whatever. It's all gonna be fine later. Just that reassurance, and the role models of the older women. And we need those. So that's why I changed the name to Wise Women, because it is a collective of wisdom from these amazing women.
So a lot of the work that I do is healing circles, women's healing circles. And when we talk about the wise woman in the healing circle, we talk about the crone.
Yes, precisely.
Yes. And certainly not an object of sexual attraction, certainly not an object of desire or femininity. It's very much the antithesis, like the complete opposite of all of those things, right? And yet embracing the crone is so important, because she has a sovereignty, she has a knowledge of herself, she has power, and yet as women we're taught to fear her.
Yep.
And in essence ourselves.
Yes.
And what? Sorry?
To keep her at bay, and to always be youthful and nubile and a consumable, essentially. And the crone is not a consumable. She will light you on fire. She's, and it's I guess too, it's like a lot of women, it's like, oh, after I turn 40, it's like I'm invisible and I'm no longer sexually desirable. And that's what, I've been told I'm supposed to be. And it's like, no, you're you have your power, you have your wisdom, and so many more things besides that. And we're taught these things to inhabit very small bodies and be weak and, always stay desirable and youthful, because that's our only value. And no, it's just BS. And yeah.
Yeah. And this is all part of this whole idea of body image and how we see ourselves and how we feel in our bodies.
Mhm.
And especially how that changes over time, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, the body is constantly evolving. I mean, we start off, we have our child bodies, and then we go through puberty, and then things happen that are so out of control. And, you get stretch marks on our hips because they grow so fast. And then we, sometimes some of us have children, and then our bodies are completely out of our control and changed drastically. And for a long time, I fought with my body. I inhabited it, but I was more like just a brain that had a body in a lot of ways. And I was constantly at war with it. And it's like, well, this isn't right. This isn't right. I have stretch marks. I have this, I have that, and just constantly focusing on the flaws. And one day I looked in the mirror, I was like, this is exhausting. Like, would I
Mhm.
another person the way I'm talking to myself? I wouldn't. It's like, why is it okay for me to talk to myself like this? So I started flipping the script, and it's like, oh, my stomach is soft and has stretch marks. I'm like, yeah, my stomach is soft. I've worked hard for this tummy. I have grown 3 humans in this tummy. I have lived 47 years, and gravity does things, and it's soft and it feels nice. And the stretch marks are a beautiful texture and an adornment on my skin. They're not gross. They're not wrong. They're just skin that had to expand. And the same with cellulite. It's like, when I do portraits of myself, I leave it all there. And, I was doing, there's another project I'm working on that has to do with self-love. And so I was like, well, I'll do portraits of myself for for this. And so I'm like, well, I'll just be naked. And I put a mirror down on the floor. This idea, I was like, it's, and I find art nude, like nothing is visible. My stomach rolls are visible because it's from the side. And that was the intention. But I have a mirror there, and I'm getting position. I look down, I was like, oh, wow, that's a lot. See, this is the way we don't usually see ourselves. And I was like, and I just started laughing at the absurdity of it, of the absurdity of aging and how the body changes and what it was doing. And I hugged myself just out of joy and love. And it's like, a year ago, I would have burst into tears and put my clothes on and be like, nope, I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't see myself this way. But now it is a true joy. It's like, I'm alive and I get to inhabit this body that does amazing things and carries me through every day and supports me as I go. And I'm so grateful for it. Even if things go in different places than one would think they would.
Yeah. Oh, that's so beautiful.
Yes. So I guess, Sandra, how does this whole conversation fit in with what we're trying to do with our Nourish retreat and then the Nourish group program and after?
That's such a good question, Shannon.
I
I
thank
wish
you. That was not scripted at all.
This is exactly what we're talking about in the Nourish program, right? The feelings that we have about our body that are really out of proportion with what our body really is and what it does and how it makes us feel when others are looking at us, right? It's like you said, Alana, it's so difficult for people to see themselves how other people might see themselves because we just have this image of what we think we do look like, what we don't look like, or seeing ourselves in a way that is not, I don't know, it changes the way we relate to ourselves, right? Like, oh, I look desirable in that picture versus I don't feel desirable most days of my life, right? And so examining all of that. How do we get comfortable with our bodies so that we can laugh at ourselves, right? And all of our roles rather than bursting out crying and like throwing all the clothes on, and then not just any clothes, but clothes that are really baggy that don't show any of those roles, right? So that's what we're doing in our program. We're definitely encouraging people, women in particular, to experience and consider and think about and evaluate and determine for themselves, what do I want to believe about myself?
Mhm. I love it so much. Yeah, your program is so powerful and amazing. And yeah, it's going to be life-changing for for everybody who participates in it. And
Thank
it's
you. Well,
so needed.
It
mm,
is so needed. It
yeah.
is so needed. Yep.
And we would like to thank you because you have graciously offered, for those that do attend the retreat,
Mhm.
to $100 off the sitting fee for your Wise Women project, so that they can come, they can participate, and they get that deal for coming to our retreat. So thank you for that, because that's amazing.
You're welcome. But it's not the sitting fee, it's the
Oh,
gallery.
I'm sorry, the gallery. Yes.
Yes.
I get my words wrong. I apologize. Yes.
I do it all the time.
Yes.
My brain moves faster than my mouth.
Yes.
Oh my
Agreed.
gosh, it's so incredible. I can't wait to do this.
Yeah.
I really want to sit with you and have the experience. I'm one of those people who like detests having my photo taken.
Hmm.
Like seriously does not like to have her photo taken. And the whole time I'm having my photo taken, it's like, oh, this has to get over really fast.
You are
And
my specialty.
yes, yes. And on top of that, it's like, I don't want to see them after they come back because
Mhm.
they won't look good. I'm like so convinced that they won't look good.
Mhm.
But the funny thing is, Elena, we were having a conversation with someone else the other day who she was talking about Sandra to someone, and this other person said to her, "Oh my gosh, Sandra is so photogenic and she looks so beautiful in all the pictures she takes."
Yeah.
So, but Sandra has attached this meaning to what she feels she looks like. So, I mean, it's just mind-boggling to me, the things
It,
that we tell ourselves.
it is. It is. I have I've had people who've come in that you see them and they're so just beautiful. It's like, wow, you actually exist in reality. Like, but they're like, no, I am ugly and this is wrong with me and this is wrong with me. I'm like, okay, stop.
Mhm, mhm.
You're some ethereal being who landed on this planet and you're saying this to me. Like, no, 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 no. And I just, people, we can't see ourselves, and it's we can't see how the sunlight hits our eyes or that shy little smile or the curve of our neck or the graceful ways we move. And a lot of it too, it's I pose people, but at the same time I'm also observing them and how they move in their bodies and capturing them in very natural moments. And so it's like there's the comfort of your pose down to your fingers, but in the meantime I am taking the in-between photos, and those are often my favorites because it's like, this is you authentically. I've had people just like, just dance, just move, just dance, just move your body, and I will do slow shutter pictures so that it's just very much them captured in a dreamscape of movement, dancing with themselves.
So I'm getting all emotional because when you said you can't see the way the light hits your eyes or the curve of your neck what it made me think about, just because I had been thinking about this like just the second before you said that, was thinking about how we look at our own children.
Yes, that's exactly it.
And when we look at our children, we look at them with love and wonder and joy and amazement. And we never look at ourselves that way.
No, and our children came from us. That's, yeah, now you're making me emotional.
Mm.
Well, I'm trying not to cry.
I am too now.
We may have to cut to Shannon now. Shannon.
I can't. No, I'm gonna cry too. I cried everything.
But
Oh my.
it's so amazing when we think about, I have pictures of my kids that I took with my phone, and I just loved them because they're either pure joy or they're looking at something and the way that the sun is catching them or what's going on in the background, you know, is just, it was beautiful. And I still look at those photos and think, wow, they're pretty awesome. I
Mhm.
never look at a photo of myself and say, wow, I'm pretty awesome. It's more like, oh, not that one.
We're going to change that. Challenge
Mm,
accepted.
okay.
Ooh, I can't wait to see them.
Oh, well, I mean, I think the thing is that we want that experience for every woman. We
Mhm.
want every woman to be able, and when I say we, I mean all three of us. I don't just mean, we want everybody to walk around knowing that they're beautiful, that their soul is beautiful, that their body is not who they are,
Mhm.
and that they're a gift for the world, and that they have so much to contribute. And yeah, so that's our goal. Every
Love it.
one of us, right?
Mm.
It's what
Yeah.
you do. And Shannon, it's what we're working to promote through self-love and appropriate body image, and just learning to practice compassion, self-compassion and kindness.
Mhm.
All right, so Shannon, what do you
Yeah.
want people to know?
What do I want people to know? I want people to reach out to Elena to learn more about her Wise Woman project and if they would like to be a part of it. It is a life-changing experience. I can attest to that. I often open up the file folder with all my pictures and I'm like, dare I look at them today? Yes. And I'm like, ooh, look at me. I look so pretty. And then I'm like, okay, I'm done with that for now. That's enough. Like little doses.
You should put yourself as your screensaver on your phone so you can just look at yourself all day.
Okay, then that would be more like my daughter, Maddie, who loves herself. But
Yes.
I'm proud of her for loving herself. So if you are interested, reach out. And I also want everyone to really think about either joining our 21-day Nourish Challenge, where we start to explore a lot of these topics from all different aspects, and or join us on our retreat. We will put the link in the comments below, and we will also link to your information too, so that they know where to find you.
And
So,
if you come to the retreat, you get $100 off your gallery from Elena.
there
So
we
that's
go.
amazing. Such a
Mhm.
gift. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. I love what you two are doing. I'm so excited to see how that all just, it's going to be an amazing day for everyone that attends, and just so great. I love it. I just keep reading your website, and yeah, it's a
Aw,
beautiful
thank
thing.
you.
Beautiful thing.
We appreciate you, and we appreciate you. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
All right, I guess that's it. It's so awkward when I wrap up these lives. I never know what to do. So
Well, we can sing and dance.
I'm just gonna awkwardly wrap it up and say we're done now.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.